Hello and welcome to the weekly Kashmir University Video Digest Quest. First a look at the highlights. Industry Institution Interaction Session held. University Council approves many new courses. And DSW holds an interaction meet with the class representatives. This is your host Sheema. Before we give you the details of these events, we bring you the glimpses of an interaction quest team head with the Vice Chancellor Professor Khurshid Iqbal Andrabi in his office chamber. During the conversation, Professor Andrabi, while welcoming the new students, told the quest team that he is optimistic that the supplementary shift introduced by the university will be a success story because a lot of thought process went behind it.
We have not done it out of the blue. The supplementary shift has been working in a couple of departments here successfully for the last 2-3 years. For example, in history, we had a supplementary shift in law and education. And then we have now extended the supplementary shift to other departments. And because having seen that it worked successfully in those departments, we see no reason why it would not work here. And plus, this supplementary shift perhaps is misnomerized as if it were to last till 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock. It's a supplementary shift. It's a choice-based, credit-based system. The supplementary shift students can easily mix up with the first shift students when it comes to optional programs. Only the core programs are to be taken care of. And those core programs, if you start at 2 o'clock, would finish by 5 o'clock. In case of science departments, wherever there are practicals, it may extend for a couple of hours more. That means all the shift would be over by 7 o'clock. So people are unnecessarily touchy about the fact that it may last till 10 o'clock and then you have to transport people home. That is not how it works.
Professor Andrabi assured Quest team that he understands the problems and anxieties of the students' committee and university has taken multiple steps to alleviate their concerns.
For example, we have introduced a single application form for the students, single enrollment form for the students, so that he does not have to come back to the university again and again. We have also introduced some user-friendly mobile applications for student records and other records a student is desirous of getting downloaded from the university. We have also, to the convenience of the students, put on live mocks. As soon as an evaluator uploads the mocks, he has access on those mocks. We have also started from at least choice-based, credit-based system program that immediately after a student finishes his degree, he can have the degree next day. He can have a transcript of marks the next day. And he does not have to wait on completion of the results. He can have his answer scripts re-evaluated even before that. The moment they become live on web, he can have the answer scripts re-evaluated should he desire that. In terms of academics also, we have done many things for the convenience of the students, that you normally have questions about whether his evaluation was right or wrong, and then he has been made a party to that evaluation process as well. It has to be done to his satisfaction as opposed to the satisfaction of the evaluator.
The Vice Chancellor said that the university has created modern laboratory support and other things to make it vibrant.
I think this university has not had a dramatic increase in research support, research infrastructure, laboratory support. Over the last 1.5 years, we have created some model laboratory support in Department of Botany. That model would be replicated in all other departments where you have not had this research infrastructure, laboratory support developed over so many years. So that is under RUSA program, that every science department will get a model lab, as good a lab as is available internationally. So this has been step number one. Step number two is that we have also created state-of-the-art infrastructure at our satellite campuses like Leh and Kargil, invested a lot of money. We have also focused on creating student amenities. For example, we are in the process of providing cheap food outlets to students. There will be many on main campus. There will be some on each satellite campus. And we have also provided a reasonable grant to all the satellite campuses for sports infrastructure. So we really want a vibrant university in every sphere, not only in academics, but also in extracurricular activities. We're also establishing an indoor sports facility here at the main campus and a gymnasium for girl students and boy students together.
He said that the university is upgrading its infrastructure and human resource to meet the challenges of future.
In terms of hostels, we have a facility for about 400 students, which has already been handed over to the university, and in a day or two, you would have students also housed in Zakura campus. And we're also inclined to have infrastructure at Zakura campus further strengthened because we want it to come up as a model engineering college. As far as faculty recruitment is concerned, we have been very stringent, and that has been something I really worry about the most. That you would not let anybody who falls short of international standards to enter as a faculty member in the university. That would go a long way in serving this university for next 40 years, and then you do not have to worry about a faculty member, who would be a liability for the university for next 40 years.
Asked why the university is blamed to be deficient in technological interventions, Professor Andrabi guaranteed that this laggardness will be done away with soon.
My commitment is that we will not, inshallah, remain oblivious to technology. And you cannot live without technological intervention in teaching learning process. We have submitted a proposal to several agencies about creating smart classrooms and having lectures videographed in the classroom itself and uploaded on the university web portal at the end of the day. But then it requires lots of money, and then we are working hard to have that realized. But on a smaller scale, what we are contemplating to start right away is that at least have a couple of classrooms in those subjects created, which the subjects that are taught at different satellite campuses, so that you have live video lectures from the main campus to the satellite campuses, such that satellite campuses do not remain oblivious to what is taught at the main campus. And then you would also circumvent the faculty requirement at these campuses, and at the end of the day, do not have anybody ask a question whether there was parity between one satellite campus and the other campus. So this is on a large scale, but on a massive scale, it requires reasonable amount of infrastructural development. We are working hard on that, and I hope we'll succeed in next 2-3 years, inshallah.
In a message to the new entrants to the university, Professor Andrabi said,
as they say, that a good student makes a good teacher. Please make your teachers accountable. Please make the system accountable. We have a feedback mechanism in place. Please put in all deficiencies in a very sober and a very decent way up in front of the authorities through those feedbacks, through those grievance redressals, and see that those are addressed, follow up on those complaints, and see all those complaints are addressed. We are here to provide them the best environment of teaching and learning process, and they are there to have this university owned and belonged to them. And then that is how this university will prosper, and that is how the growth and prosperity of the student is also ensured.
Dear viewers, now we have the details of the other stories. The Department of Food Science and Technology organized a day-long industry institution interaction session. The session was held at the EMMRC auditorium. Head Department of Food Science and Technology, Professor F.A. Masoodi, while presenting the welcome address, presented a brief background and objectives of the session.
Many of our educational institutions, we find that a sort of, there is no proper linkages with different stakeholders, society in general, industry, or different stakeholders. There's some sort of poor those linkages which need to be strengthened. So it's a small attempt which we are making to get ourselves linked to the industry. As we know that my friends from the academia in this room are aware that there are different parameters on the basis of which we are assessed. It's number of publications, And then for the last 2-3 years, we have been listening. These are the buzzwords: impact factor, number of publications, H index, I index, and so on. So these are the parameters on the basis of which institutions are evaluated. But equally important are some other parameters, like the linkages, how strong and robust linkages any institution has developed with the industry.
Dean, Faculty of Applied Science and Technology, Professor G.M. Butt questioned that why is it that we have not been able to find technological solutions to our technical problems?
How many problems which we are facing in our society have been solved by technical solutions, have been provided technical solutions by our technical institutions? If I quote just one example here related to food processing, I think all of us know कि हम जो ये दान है इसको हम कैसे कूटते हैं. सोई दाम मशीन छ आसि वंकस ते योस आसि आज ब्रो 50 वरी 40 वरी अस मे बासा थ्रूआउट इंडिया मा आसि. It has got so many disadvantages. But who has, in fact, addressed this problem and solved this problem in a better way? So that जो nutrients इसमें हैं, वो भी इसमें मौजूद रहते. It would have been more user-friendly, more, with better throughput, so on and so forth.
Dean College Development Council, Professor Nilofer Khan observed that industries need incentives to work in any area.
I do agree, unless there is some type of an incentive to the industry, then only we can have maximum number of these interactions. As I said, that the Department of Food Technology is doing so well, not only in the northern region, but doing very well in our state also. It has a very important portfolio that it's a Department of Food Science and Technology. And our state has got great potential for this food industry, and the type of role that they have to play in our state has to be really a bigger one, not only to have linkages with the industry. I'm sure that we'll also have linkages with our society.
Dean Academic Affairs, Professor Muhammad Ashraf Wani, opined that no policy should be framed without empirical research.
There is a need for a movement to be launched, that no policy and program must be framed by any state unless it is properly researched and inputs are being fed on the basis of empirical evidence by the higher institutions like the universities. And then the assessment, the policy, any policy that is implemented will not be carried forward unless its implementation is being evaluated by the researchers in the university to see whether the desired objects are realized or it is proving negative.
Chairman of Cargill India Private Limited, Mr. Siraj Chaudhary, who was chief guest on the occasion, said that agriculture only becomes useful when it is converted into agro-business.
Agriculture in itself doesn't mean anything. It is just about producing something from nature, right? Agriculture becomes useful only when it is converted to agri-business. If all of us were producing everything and eating ourselves, there was no business. Similarly, R&D in this space will remain R&D on paper unless it converts to addressing certain consumer needs. And when that addresses consumer needs is where the industry gets interested. Now, this assessment of consumer need can happen from the industry or from the science itself, which is saying that, can you think ahead of the industry and create value propositions? And today, actually, there is a great example of that. All of you are familiar with the e-commerce boom that is happening. It is not really about industry. It is about addressing consumer needs.
Assistant Professor of Food Science and Technology, Dr. Idris Ahmad Wani, conducted proceedings of the function, and Mr. Sajjad Ahmad Wani proposed a vote of thanks. The University of Kashmir held its council meet at the Raj Bhavan, Jammu. The Chancellor and the Governor of the state, Mr. Narendra Nath Vohra, along with the Pro-Chancellor and Chief Minister of the state, Ms. Mehbooba Mufti, the Education Minister, Mr. Naeem Akhtar, the Vice Chancellor, Professor Khurshid Iqbal Andrabi, Registrar Professor Musaddiq Amin Suaf, along with the other top state and the university officials were present in the council meet. The Council, while appreciating the university for overall development, approved various proposals of the university. These include the introduction of postgraduate course in microbiology at Center of Research for Development and PG Diploma program in Quranic Studies at the Department of Arabic. The Council also approved the introduction of MTech program in the Department of Computer Sciences at the Zukra campus, enhancement in intake for PG course in chemistry at SP College and PG course in commerce at Bemina Degree College. During the meeting, the Chancellor advised the university officials to have sustained attention towards research. He also advised them to focus on sports and extracurricular activities by hosting annual sports festival. The Council also advised that the university should have dynamic interactions with the industrial houses and relevant institutions in the public and private sectors before deciding the nature of changes which may be made in the existing curricula so that the syllabi corresponds to the evolving job market requirements. The Chancellor and the Pro-Chancellor congratulated the Vice-Chancellor for wonderful achievements the university had done during the past 6 months. The Department of Students' Welfare organized a session with the class representatives of the various postgraduate departments. The session was held in the community room of the administrative block. During the session, Dean Student Welfare Professor Fayaz Ahmed told students to cooperate with the university authorities, and if ever they have any grievances, they should bring it to the notice of the authority. Dean Academic Affairs Professor Muhammad Ashraf Wani encouraged students to involve themselves in intellectual debate on issues and concerns. He advised them that the years spent in the university are going to have far-reaching impact on their life, and as such they should improvise on their intellectual faculty during these years. Chief Proctor Dr. Nasir Iqbal, who was also present on the occasion, told students that they must confine their activities within the morals and ethics of the society. Assistant Professor of History Department and Coordinator of Choice-Based Credit System, Dr. Javedul Aziz, briefed students about the choices they have under the CBCS. Later, class representatives also put forth their views. With this, we come to the end of today's program. In case you have missed some part of the program, log on to emmrckashmir.com where you can watch the whole episode. Send your suggestions at our email address quest@emmrckashmir.com. Before I take you leave, here are a few words of wisdom. Every epoch of world history is epoch of erring.